The hour, guys. Let's go ahead and kick off. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. I'm Hall Martin with 10 Capital. Let me go and get our slides up here and then we'll jump into it. Thank you guys so much for taking time to spend your hour with us and looking forward to your feedback today. So with that, let me share my screen. Let's see. And for those who don't know who 10 Capital is, we've been here since 2009, helping startups and investors connect for funding. Started in Texas under the name Texas Entrepreneurs Network, expanded to the US in 2016, just recently expanded to the Middle East, North Africa earlier this year. We've been working at this for over 17 years now and having a great time with it. So let me get my slides up. And what we do is we help startups and investors connect for funding. We coach on fundraise strategy. We help with decks. We use a lot of AI tools to analyze the situation and help figure out how best to present it to investors. We also help investors with due diligence. We build diligence reports out of data rooms and can analyze data rooms and help them find conviction in the deal as well. We also form capital for the early stage ecosystem. We work with high net worths to help them start family offices as they fund emerging managers. We help VC funds find limited partners primarily through family offices. And then we help angel groups find members, and that's how they fund their process. So at heart, what we're doing is we're helping build out more capital for the early stage startup system as well. If you're in one of those positions, please feel free to contact me. We'll glad to talk to you about how we can help you bring more money into the system as well. This is one of our events. We do 6 events per month, 4 online, 2 in person. We have a quick pitch that is for tech deals, a life science syndicate for life science deals, investor education has an investor education piece as well as both life science and tech deals. And then we also do in-person events. Here in Austin, we do a speed match, and in Dallas, we do a scale-up pitch lunch. We are on our way out to LA and Irvine in September, and we'll go to the Bay Area later this fall. So looking forward to more of those events. At 10 Capital, there's about 10 of us now. Most of us are in Austin, but some are outside. We recently expanded to the Middle East. So we have Mustafa Shahat from Egypt that's taking us into the brave new world there. We've had many companies raise $3-5 million after us and decided we wanted to be a part of it. And this was on the call today. If anybody has any questions, we can connect you with them. We also have a newsletter called the 10 Capital Connect. It's a Substack. If you take a picture of that Substack QR code, you can subscribe to it and you'll get prompts and other information about how to use AI in your diligence and analysis. And if you are raising funding in the audience, feel free to take a picture of that QR code, fill out the form, and we'll be glad to follow up with you about this program to see if it's a good fit. And you can contact us and we'll do so. But with that, let's go ahead and get started. We'll take this off and we'll invite up our first presenter. We'll have with Oliver.
Happy to follow up with anyone. Thank you.
Right. And you see your slides, kick off when ready.
Great. Well, thanks very much for the introduction. My name's Oliver Bathe. I'm founder and CEO of Qualsure Diagnostics. And before there was Qualsure Diagnostics, I was a cancer surgeon for over 25 years. And one of the things that was impressively obvious was that we give these really toxic treatments to people who are already sick from their cancer. And the fact of the matter is that in a vast majority of instances, we're not sure whether that patient is going to benefit. And so what we need to do is develop diagnostic tests to help to guide treatments. And that involves understanding the underlying biology of the cancer. The best way that we think we can do that is by looking at RNA expression. And so we have a very efficient pipeline for developing those kinds of tests based on the pattern of expression of genes in a cancer. The other problem that is really significant as we develop these kinds of technologies is really deploying them. What typically happens is a diagnostic company will create a central lab, which of course is very capital intensive. It, moreover, is a big problem in terms of bringing this technology globally. Patients who are in Australia, for example, would have very little access to technologies that are developed here in North America. So using that efficient discovery and validation approach that we have developed, we developed our first product, which is a test for thyroid cancer. Now, thyroid cancer was the choice because there was a very significant unmet clinical need. It's not a life-threatening tumor in most instances, and yet we continue to treat it very aggressively. And so, what this test, Thyroid Guide PX, does is it determines whether a patient has aggressive disease or more slow-growing disease, so you can tailor the treatments for those patients. We've actually made quite a bit of progress with that first product. We have almost started a trial at MD Anderson and at Sloan Kettering. We have a paid pilot at the University of Toronto and two peer-reviewed grant-funded trials there. We have three different labs that have partnered with us in the US, in Canada, and in Singapore, and we have some distributors who are also interested in our product. So, how is it that we can actually bring this globally in a decentralized fashion? We do that with our
Thank you.
platform, which we call Molecular Decoder. Molecular Decoder automatically analyzes the data from the next generation sequencer and delivers a report back to the lab wherever the testing is done. So, what it essentially does is it enables us to have a distributive business model where testing can be done locally, where the patients are being taken care of. Now, this molecular decoder happens to be our future because now we've productized molecular decoder. We've made it accessible to other diagnostic companies, including not just companies that do RNA-seq, but also companies that do use imaging technologies or other AI algorithms. Essentially, it houses these AI algorithms, enabling very secure deployment of those algorithms. Just demonstrating proof of adoption, we already have three separate labs already hooked onto molecular decoder. We're now speaking with a number of other diagnostic companies who are interested in accessing this. So essentially, we're a very capital efficient commercialization company. We've brought this along with less than $2 million. We don't need a large sales force in order to create revenue. And essentially, we have grown from a single test company to a platform company, and our next steps will be to transform into an infrastructure company for other companies using computational models. This is our team. Cynthia, my co-founder, is an expert in bioinformatics and machine learning. Dave's a cloud computing cybersecurity guy. Dave Levison has a lot of experience in diagnostics. And we are currently raising $7 million. And this will essentially help us to transition from a diagnostic company to a platform company and then onto an infrastructure company. And we are essentially in a very important inflection point, ready to go and have some really significant partnerships to bring us to the next level. Thank you for your attention.
Great presentation, Oliver. Who has the first question? Brill?
Yeah, do you need what type of FDA approval, either for lab or for the tools do you need?
Yeah, so our model is based on laboratory developed tests for individual tests. Thyroid Guide PX is an LDT in Canada and in the US as well as in Singapore. For the software, the cloud-based engine, it is operational. We will be seeking FDA approval not because we need to, but more as a strategic approach because that will enhance our moat. And then as we grow and employ more AI technology, of course, then we'll have to be very cognizant of as we develop that to engage with the FDA on a prospective basis.
Great. Thanks for that. Dan, what's your question?
Wow, you get to the end of this slide deck and you've done all this with less than $2 million. I'm really impressed.
Thank you.
I'm also trying to figure out where what the hook is for the revenue. Did you have a revenue slide before this? Because that's a big number, 58. There it is. Okay, good.
Yeah,
So
so Thank you for that question. So essentially, we're very early revenue right now. We have some early sales for Thyroid Guide PX, but what I think is going to happen is the dominant revenue source will be related to the platform. As we engage with other diagnostic companies that are extremely interested in utilizing molecular decoder, it enables them to iterate on their AI algorithms to version control it and to bring it out in a controlled fashion to deployment, not just locally, but also in a decentralized fashion.
So let me just clarify the business model because there's so much potential here. It looks like to be a CRO. Am I simplifying it far too much?
We can behave as a CRO, so yes, and our first customers will be other diagnostic companies. But as I mentioned in the beginning, we have a super efficient way of developing biomarkers. So my goal over the next few months is to engage more meaningfully with pharma because we can help them to devise companion biomarkers, but importantly, we can also help them to deploy those biomarkers as they're developed. So it's a unique value proposition to them.
It is perfect, and I have a resource for you. It's, as Hall Martin would say, compliments of the house. The idea is that one of our investments is a similar company and has become a CRO around a particular unique thing, and now they're profitable. Boom. So that sounds a lot like you.
Great. If you guys could
Thank you.
take that to the chat box, that'd be great. Jolene, what's your question?
So, Oliver, it appears, congratulations. And I also think achieving this on 2 million is stellar. So it appears that the real value that we could bring to you other than capital would be data, access to data. Is that correct?
Data is not a problem for us. We have I mean, I've been in the field of bioinformatics and precision oncology for a long time. So I have a lot of connections with large data sources. And so I don't think that will be a problem. More data is obviously really great. So if you have access to more of that, that would be fantastic. But I don't see that as a limiting factor for us.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
Who else has a question?
It's Brill again. Did I miss whether you have IP protection on your algorithms?
Yeah. So Thyroid Guide PX, we've submitted a patent for that, and it's a PCT patent through a number of different countries. Molecular decoder has also been submitted for a patent. We're building a transcriptomic foundation model right now, which will be a trade secret, and the machine learning algorithm that we have devised to discover our biomarkers is also a trade secret.
Great. Margaret, we have 15 seconds for your question. What is that?
Um, do you have any clinical results, let's say thyroid or, the lung, RX?
So yeah, so most of our evidence has been gathered for Thyroid Guide PX, and that has involved multiple cohorts from numerous institutions in different countries. So that evidence is quite advanced, and we've in fact been cited in the ATA guidelines as an interesting technology. Lung Guide PX. So we've deliberately been not, we do have a pipeline of another 6 tests, and our next test will also be for thyroid cancer, mostly because of market pull. The next 2 after that will be lung cancer. We're not investing in that in terms of our time right now, just because we really want to generate revenue. I think that's our highest priority at this time. But as soon as we are able to expand our team, we'll dedicate some resources to bringing those along.
All right, we're at the time there. If you guys want to take that to the chat box, feel free to give more information, Oliver, to the group. And Margaret, please ask more questions on the chat box. With that, we'll go to Keegan of Chillshark. Keegan, please launch your slides and kick off when ready.
All right, can you hear me? Can you see this?
See it and hear you. You're good to go.
Perfect. My name is Keegan O'Connor. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Chillshark. This is the product. Basically, I started this company to solve my own problem. I wanted a solution that would turn my bathtub into a cold plunge. I lived in an apartment and didn't have space for a larger tub. But as I started to really look into where the market opportunity was, I realized luxury hospitality, we were solving a massive problem that they're willing and able to pay for. So, we have a 2-year contract signed with Four Seasons. We'll have a webinar tomorrow with one of the heads of wellness at Ritz-Carlton, who's going to discuss how he is going to roll this out across the portfolio. But the traction speaks for itself, but the problem is really easy to see here. So right now, this is one of the ways that hotels are getting ice for ice baths, for whether it's a guest or a professional sports team. So when we presented them with a solution that was, it turns an operational headache into a cash generating asset, it was something that was super attractive for them. And when you look at the current product set, their only options were consumer tubs, which don't really meet the brand standards of a luxury hospitality. They don't have space to install larger tubs, but the demand's there. There is consistent requests by guests, and then the professional sports teams who need this need ice. So the solution is Chill Shark. Being able to fit the brand standards, providing that premium user experience, and then having the fleet management that allows them to deploy this at scale was something that was super attractive for them, and it's easy to set up. So all they have to do is fill up the tub, lay the mat over the tub, and then they can pre-schedule it, and it's ready to rock. So as I mentioned at the beginning, I built this with the University of Texas basketball athletic trainer for on the road in hotels. I went out and closed a few of the customers, and we're delivering our first units to the Memphis Grizzlies within the next 4 days. So it's exciting, but we got pulled into luxury hospitality. And we realized that if we focus on luxury hospitality, we get a demo showroom in every major market. We get in front of all the athletic trainers and professional athletes, and then we get pulled into luxury residential deals, which we have our first marquee deal with a property out of Nashville. They found that they can increase their property value 17 to 25% by adding in wellness amenities. And we were able to sell them not only 18 cold plunge, but we also were able to function as a distributor for 18 saunas. So, that was a $252,000 deal for one property. And, we also get the recurring revenue from that as well. Perhaps the most exciting thing that's happened, we got accepted on Friday officially. A $2 billion manufacturer of luxury bathtub fixtures, whether it's a bathtub or a toilet. They are going to put a Chill Shark in their Barcelona design center, where they're going to have all their partners from all over the world come and look at the products of the future. So we'll be in front of luxury developers, which we've already had some traction. We'll be in front of the luxury hospitality buyers, and we believe that this is a precursor for them making a strategic investment in our next priced round. How does the business model work? In our model, we put average selling price around $5,000, and then conservatively a 10% cost reduction year over year. By year 5, we're expecting around a 42% margin. For the growth, so the comparable company is Plunge. They went from 0 to 100 million in 3 years by selling a bathtub. We projected accomplishing the same in 5 years to be conservative, but we believe that we actually have a larger market opportunity because we unlock hospitality and luxury residences. We have IP, we have distribution, and all of this together is what really creates the moat and makes us a great strategic acquisition for one of these larger bathtub companies. The single most important thing to note with the whole slide is Venkat Mallela joined Chill Shark 5 months ago, and he left the world's largest hot tub, cold plunge, and sauna company to join Chill Shark full time and help us scale. So there's no one more qualified to assess the opportunity here. And the last thing, we're raising $1.5 million. Would love to have a conversation or answer any additional questions. Thank you.
Hey Keegan, it's Brill. Good to see you again.
Hey, how we doing? Been a
Good.
while.
Congrats on the progress. I love the
Thank you.
luxury premium segment. Can you take just a few seconds more to explain how you build that moat and how you prevent competition from coming in and undercutting you?
Yeah, absolutely. So first and foremost, tomorrow we're having a webinar with the guy from Ritz-Carlton, head of wellness, Rakesh. I'll shoot you over that because you can hear it firsthand from him. But the moat, so realistically, I went to the hotels when I was building this to understand what we would need in order to get product market fit. The most important thing was sound reduction. So under 55 decibels, no cold plunge company comes even close. We have IP around our product. And then what we're doing right now is we're building and integrating our business into their business model. So the switching costs over time are very difficult. For example, Four Seasons, they bought a product for $3,500 and they're giving us 25% revenue share on every dollar that comes in the door. So we are a partner with the business. We're working on building PR campaigns, pricing structure, et cetera, that we're going to just build that template and then roll it out across their portfolio. So the cost to switch is, expensive for them. And then obviously we're already partners. So that's the real moat.
Great answer there. Joe, what's your question?
Well, it would seem that you're doing a lot of the marketing correctly, but don't ignore the fact that if an NFL player wants to use this in a hotel, all the NFL teams, not to mention university teams, will want this in their own facility.
Totally.
And that's the market you get. The other way you can cut off a moat is get an OEM deal with Moan or Delta or whatever, so they don't go and reproduce something that's an equivalent and then cut you out at the hotel.
So Venkat, if you would like to kind of take this. So Venkat actually worked at these strategics. So he kind of has a pretty interesting.
I was at Watkins Wellness, part of Masco. Delta Faucets was actually a sister company.
Right.
I met Keegan while I was evaluating Chill Shark for a strategic investment for the Masco Corporate Venture Capital Fund. I've been part of many acquisitions and we evaluated startups. Always have a make versus buy decision. So yes, that's our goal. In fact, Roca, which Keegan talked about, that's the approach we are taking.
Great. Randy, what's your question?
Excellent.
Yeah, Keegan, are there any negative health side effects of either somebody using this product too long or not according to your specifications that you have to worry about, like with insurance or anything?
Are you talking about from a liability perspective?
Exactly.
Yeah. So Venkat, you want to cover that, or me?
Yeah, I can talk about it from a hospitality perspective. So
Sure.
So
A minute and a half left.
Yeah. So we limit the temperature going down to 50 for hospitality settings, and I'm used to that with the hot tubs. We would limit the higher temperature settings as warnings. So, and of course, we'll have the right literature and everything, but especially for commercial settings like hospitality, we do limit that so people can't go below the 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Of course, there's always going to be enthusiasts who are going to go down to the 35, 37, but those will all be covered in a standard liability agreement.
Great. Jolene, what's your question?
Congratulations. I had one of the first hospitality spa wellness companies in the world. So
No way.
that's a really hard nut to crack. You've done so much, but I'm not convinced 1.5 is even going to come close to what you need to deploying.
So you could look through our model. We've already raised $2.3 million. So, all in all, this will help us start to scale up. But right now we're raising that bridge round to where we have priced in a Series A in 16 to 18 months to when we really start to scale up across these larger portfolios.
Yeah, love to see your deck. Thank you.
Great. Margaret, what's your question?
Have you considered any health, issues with this kind of chill shark? I mean, I'm not really sure this is something for me, and there will be a lot of demand. Sounds like you're focusing on a very niche market here. So maybe you can explain, are there any, any monitoring or anything that you make sure that it's not going to cause health issues with this?
I'm not sure I understand the question. So It was, we're focusing on a niche, and is it causing any health issues?
Yeah, like health concerns for people who have cardiovascular disease, for example, like heart
So,
problem. Can they
yeah.
go
So, I mean,
into a bath like that?
so all I can go is that, it is the protocols for every single sports team in the world to use ice baths.
So,
So,
Keegan, can I take that from an industry
sure.
perspective?
You
Yeah,
got
sure.
10
I'll
seconds.
just give you a quick analogy with hot tubs. I work for Watkins, which has been selling hot tubs for 50 years. So it's the same kind of issues, and there are very standard liability statements and education which is there. And this is pretty much true for any appliance, health and wellness. So we are going to follow the same thing with cold immersion, which is actually a very strong trend. So there's nothing unique or different about any sort of liabilities or health warnings which come with any appliances.
Yes, so you have, in other words, instructions to make sure people don't get in there for like 20 hours or something. I'm making this up.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you, great guys. Appreciate if you can take that to the chat box. I'd love to see
Sure.
that conversation continue. With that, let's go to our next presenter, Aether. Aaron, if you can launch your slides and kick off when ready.
Checking audio, is it okay?
Yeah, it is.
All right. Stop share, that didn't work. Sorry.
It's not yet.
Wrong button.
Your slides aren't up yet.
Yeah, I know. Hold on.
We see him now.
It says it's sharing. Good. All right.
Yep.
Okay. So this is a drug development project, and I know that for investors sometimes that induces antibodies just hearing that. And the reason for that is because people are concerned about risk, time to exit, and costs. But we've got a very pragmatic solution and a very capital efficient plan, and much of the de-risking already taken care of. So I think we check a lot of the boxes that many investors get concerned about when they think about drug development projects. So we're going after the opioid crisis, which is, as you know, quite significant, both from societal standpoint as well as in terms of market size. Even after Sworn, product gets in the market and recovery after abdominal surgery is shortened, it's still a huge market, $40 billion plus. So, and it's personal for us. Actually, one of these pictures is a family member of one of our founders. So our solution to this problem is a novel compound discovered by Wolfgang Sede out of Ohio State University, CSF, a preeminent researcher in the field. He discovered a compound that when you give a patient on an opioid this drug, what it does, it modulates the opioid receptor, suppress the dependent signals from that opioid while preserving the analgesic function. So we can combine this then with an opioid to develop it as a non-addictive opioid for pain. We can also treat opioid use disorder correctly, as well as a pediatric orphan disease called NOWS. By the way, Dr. Phil Skolnick is also involved. He is giving a talk today at 3 o'clock Central Time that Hall is hosting. The KOL talk, he's going to talk about the opioid crisis. If you're interested, I would tune into that call, or I can send you the link. So, as we know, the market is huge. There's also, if you follow the deal activity, there's recent pharma interest in non-addictive pain drugs.
Aaron, they're having a hard time hearing you. If you could just maintain position, you'll keep on the microphone. Go ahead.
Sorry, how's that better?
That's better. That's stay position.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Sorry about that. So there's been significant interest both from the FDA as well as pharma in promoting non-addictive pain drugs. The plan we've developed is very straightforward. We're going to spend 2.5 years at $10 million to go generate proof of concept in 2 clinical studies, and we're going to do this with a team of successful drug developers. This molecule is the only molecule that's going after our approach. You might get some other pitches from pain and addiction companies, but we're the only ones going after target product profile of opioid equivalent easy without the risk of addiction. There's really no other MOA that can make that claim. We've completed 2 toxicology studies. We've got a battery of non-clinical evidence and models that are known for human condition, and we've got safety in humans as well, with a wide therapeutic. So the team, as I mentioned, is quite seasoned. Rick Hawkins has a number of successful exits. In fact, there's decades of drug development and successful biotech exits from this team, including I spent a couple of decades actually perfecting the craft of doing biopharmaceuticals, both inside large pharma on the buy side as well as on the sell side, small biotechs. Bruce Imbert has developed and registered a number of pain drugs. And Wolfgang today, as I mentioned, is preeminent research. And this is it. We're gonna 3 FTEs, Wolfgang part-time, and a couple consultants, and this is the entire team for the next 2.5 years. So as I mentioned, there's a lot of competition. They're all going after a number of different targets, trying to get away from opioid, which is a good thing to do. But the problem is, in so doing, they're all compromising some level of efficacy to go after better safety. So if you think about pain drugs as either analgesia trade-offs with safety trade-offs, basically opioids are the most efficacious, but of course have a lousy safety profile. So all the other approaches are basically compromising some level of analgesic benefit to go after better safety. The NaV1.8s, this circle right up here, they just launched a drug called Jernavix. The launch didn't go so well, and the efficacy data is relatively modest. There's some other ones coming down the pipeline, but we're the only TPP in development that basically is going after opioid-equivalent analgesia without the risk of addiction dependence. And so the way we're doing that and going to prove it out is with 2 clinical studies, which we can fund with this raise. We're raising a convertible note, $13.3 million pre-money, and the $10 million note will basically allow us to go make some GMP material. We'll go down to Australia, where we've already conducted pre-feasibility work with established CROs to identify the patients that are down there. And we'll enroll patients who are in chronic opioid therapy and at baseline have some level of dependence and some level of pain management. We'll give them a dose of our drug, and based on our mechanism, really very quickly, in 4 weeks, longest, we should see a decrease, clinically meaningful decrease in dependence from baseline and no change in analgesia. If we get that, then we have TPP that we believe, and the market tells us, would be very attractive to large pharma. So we'd be seeking an exit at that point. We can generate that data successfully. If we don't get the exit and the data is positive, we got a couple of options that actually are not all that expensive and long. What we'd probably do if we stayed independent at that point is go straight to a registrational study for the pediatric orphan disease. And that would be a straightforward study of basically reducing weaning time in the NICU babies that are born with an opioid addiction. Evaluation benchmarks at the bottom are based on recent deals announced for non-addictive pain drugs that are in phase 2. We're going for a level of human validation that exceeds the valuations of these deals at the time. So in summary, we've got a very novel, very pragmatic approach, which is basically to take the sting out of opioids. And we've got plenty of evidence that suggests it's working across 10 different models with 4 different species. This is not like cancer or Alzheimer's, where we've been curing the disease in animals for 20 years. These models are known to be predictive of You've got clean tox, clean safety, large addressable market, and basically a very capital efficient approach to go conduct these studies, demonstrate the proof of concept. We've got a team that's done this many times in the past. So we raised $7 million previously. That was all mostly Wolfgang with grants primarily. And he got all this data generated on those grants. And now we're raising a first institutional round. We got a lead investor in for $4.5 million, follow-on investors. We're roughly at about 6.4 committed as of last week. And we're going to do a first close of $7 million, targeting very quickly. And there's a benefit on some of the provisions actually getting in now versus later. We're doing a rolling close to 10 million. Thank you.
Okay, who has our first question? Okay, let's see.
I skipped a lot of stuff, so there must be questions.
Yeah, so your core claim is that you reverse opioid dependence while preserving analgesia. What leads you to believe that what phase 1b, 2a studies generate to demonstrate this mechanism rather than just showing that it improves the symptoms? How do you get down to the core of it?
Good question, Hall. So Let me just do it this way.
And then we have a question from Margaret after this one, but we have got 1 minute left. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I'll just walk you through it. Basically, so Wolfgang conducted 2 human studies previously with a prior formulation to demonstrate that the drug is safe. So this is the first time that the oral formulation will be into humans, but we're going in at doses much lower than what he tested in the prior IV formulation. So we know the safety window is already quite large. So we're going to go basically do a quick study to pick a dose, and that'll be a 26-patient study. And then we'll go into this chronic opioid population, 4 weeks of treatment. And these are using validated tools. So there's 2 tools that are clinically validated. One is subjective, one is objective measurements, measures dependence at baseline as well as 4 weeks later. That's the key measurement. Then, of course, also standard pain scores, which are used commonly in all these studies as well to confirm that we're not hindering so fairly clinically validated, fairly straightforward. Just need to finalize around and go do the study.
Great. Margaret, what's your question?
Sarah, can you show your timeline in
Yeah.
terms of FDA? I think I saw that in a second.
Yeah, well, we have a use of proceeds and a timeline here. Basically, we're going to go to Australia first to prove it out because, this same plan would probably cost us about 30% more in terms of time and cost if we were going to go mess with the FDA. But we're working with CROs that have a history of generating data that the finds acceptable and that pharma accepts as well. So this is pretty routine. So we're going to go make a batch of material, and then it's going to take us about a year roughly to generate the data, safety data from the oral formulation. And we should hope to be in humans in the definitive clinical proof of concept study by roughly the second half of next year.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Great. Thanks so much, Aaron, for a great presentation. With that, let's move to our next presenter, HemoCap. Eric, go ahead and launch your slides and kick off when ready.
Good.
You see your slides. You're good to go.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Eric Caron, CEO and co-founder of HemoCat. Our company is uniquely positioned at the convergence of medtech, digital health, and vertical AI. At HemoCat, we are commercializing the hemodynamics AI platform. Our core mission is to transform acute heart failure management from a reactive, crisis-driven response into a proactive, predictive care that sets a new global standard of cardiac care. Today, we are raising a $4.5 million seed round to secure FDA clearance and conduct preclinical studies with key opinion leaders at Yale School of Medicine. To understand why this opportunity is so massive, we must look at the sheer scale of this crisis. Heart failures remains the leading cause of death and the single largest healthcare cost in both the US and the EU. When a patient suffers from acute decompensated heart failure, or ADHF, the heart abruptly fails to pump blood effectively, rapidly flooding the body and lungs with fluid. In the US alone, there are 700,000 ADHF hospital admissions per year, every year, representing a $600 million obtainable market within a $2 billion US addressable market. To manage these critical patients, clinicians rely on pulmonary artery catheters, or PACs, as the standard of care to directly measure hemodynamic data and assess heart function. However, clinicians have no other options but to use legacy PACs built on a 50-year-old technology. There are large rigid catheters that must be inserted directly through a major vein in the neck. This carries a 3% risk of serious clinical complications, locks patients to the hospital beds, and causes significant pain. Technically, legacy PACs are fluid-filled lumens connected to external sensors. Those systems are notoriously unstable, requiring constant manual adjustments and frequently generate unreliable data. Additionally, studies show that clinicians make data interpretation errors up to 40% of the time. That leads directly to misdiagnosis, wrong treatment decisions, and prolonged hospital stay. HemoCat solves every single one of these complications by pairing our advanced HemoCat pulmonary artery catheter with the hemodynamics AI platform to offer a solution that is safer for patients, easier for clinicians, and AI-driven for accuracy. Safer for patients by replacing a large catheter inserted in the neck with a flexible small catheter inserted directly in the arm, just like a standard IV catheter. This drastically reduces hospital complications while restoring patient mobility and comfort. And easier for clinicians by replacing large external sensors with integrated optical microsensors. This proprietary medical device captures high-fidelity hemodynamic data and simplifies bedside setup. Our vertical AI platform runs complex hemodynamic data interpretation, eliminating the 40% human error rate and providing clinical decision support to safely accelerate hospital discharge. Ultimately, our hemodynamics AI will continuously monitor high-fidelity pulmonary artery waveforms and identify early hemodynamics deterioration before patients can detect it manually. We are disrupting an established $2 billion US market. HemoCat creates a dominant, highly defensible competitive market position through a high-margin dual revenue business model. First, 30% of our model is traditional medtech hardware. Our single-use HemoCat P catheter is priced $550 per unit with a 60% gross margin. Second, 60% of our model is vertical AI SaaS revenue stream. The hemodynamics AI software delivers a scalable recurring revenue by charging $150 per patient per day for real-time clinical decision support. HemoCat is significantly de-risked. R&D for the HemoCat catheter is completed. Our technology is protected by 8 issued patents fully owned by our company. Large animal trials confirm continuous high-fidelity pressure recordings in the pulmonary artery with 0 vessel lesions on necroscopy. Safety and effectiveness have been confirmed by these large animal trials. On the regulatory side, our path to market is exceptionally de-risked. The FDA confirmed in our pre-submission meeting that the HemoCat P catheter qualifies for FDA clearance process without human clinical trials. This significantly reduces our regulatory costs and accelerates our time to revenue. Our leadership team brings over 120 years of collective experience across cardiology, engineering, commercialization, and corporate finance. As CEO and co-founder, my background is a high-tech engineer and medtech entrepreneur, combines novel product development and commercialization with venture fundraising. Our Chief Technical Officer and co-founder, Des Regan, a veteran medtech engineer, formerly with Medtronic and Norton Medical, holds 23 patents and 4 successful exits. Our Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Chris Glover, is a practicing interventional cardiologist, professor of medicine, and director of cardiac catheterization at Ottawa Heart Institute. And our Chief Financial Officer, Robert Orr, brings 15 years of medtech CEO leadership alongside 20 years of merger and acquisition consulting at PwC and Deloitte. To ensure accelerated clinical adoptions and market traction, we have established a strategic
You're at 5 minutes. Can you go to your fundraise ask?
Okay. So well, obviously
How much are you raising?
Yeah, so
How much are
obviously
you raising?
So we're raising $4.5 million
Right, thanks.
in equity. So by backing HemoCat today, you are funding the next generation of care, a standard of care for acute heart failure management. Thank you.
Great.
I look forward to your questions.
Thank you. Who has their first question? Brill.
Hey, Eric, thanks. One of the biggest obstacles of getting in market is obviously getting adoption from surgeons that are used to the way they do things. How do you overcome that inertia?
So yeah, for our key opinion leaders involved, Dr. Hertz and Dr. Singh, they're absolutely convinced by the benefits provided by our solution. There's no doubt about it for them. And the data we'll be collecting during first in human trials, and after that by our post-market clinical trial, as you can see on the screen, they will further prove to the FDA as well the effectiveness of our solution. And at the end of the day, we're not reinventing the wheel. I mean, those peak editors have been on the market for 50 years. They have years and years of a proven record that this is what that clinicians, this is what cardiologists need for patients with acute heart failure.
Great. Margaret, what's your question?
Do you already have a reimbursement?
Yes, do you guys still see my slides?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
I didn't quite catch.
So yeah, for the EmoCat, yes, there are codes in place. We use the same codes as today's Swan-Ganz pulmonary artery catheters.
Okay.
But so this is our first step to market, the catheter first, and as the next step is the AI. And for the AI, then we'll get to the market with the AI within in 2029, 2030. So we expect by then for the FDA to have a clear path for cardiovascular medical devices to market, and
You
that will
cur-
bring reimbursement codes following to this.
Yeah, Eric, do you currently establish your GMP?
GMP, could you remind me the
Yes,
remind
it's
me
your
the meaning of
quality.
this acronym?
Yes, it's your quality within your company.
Good manufacturing practices.
Yes, of course, this is a key part, and so yeah, I mean, yeah, so yes, we have you have the team in place, and for the catheter portion of it, we subcontract and establish manufacturer
Yeah,
for
I'm
the
not
assembly and the manufacturing
necessarily
of the catheter. Sorry.
right. I'm not necessarily about your manufacturing, but your quality within your whole operation. Maybe it's reserved for another meeting. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank
Let's
you.
set up a follow-up call to carry that forward. Thanks so much. We're at the end of our time. Great presentation, Eric. Appreciate that. With that, let's go to our final presenter we have with us, Sky Mir. Let's go ahead and launch the slides, Caitlin, and kick off for Chris's presentation. And after that, we'll check interest from the investors. Go
Well,
ahead.
we're going to change gears here a little bit to a wireless play, as you may know. Thanks, partner. If you can expand that to the full screen, I'd appreciate it. What I'm going to do is to take a different approach here and get to the 5 essential takeaways that I want you to have, and then briefly point to the places in this presentation for you to look at later that verifies it. I'm one of 2 co-founders with 3 exits in the wireless product space, and my co-founder is the best RF antenna engineer in this industry for 25 years. So we're partnering together on devices that hang off wireless networks that make businesses far more effective in their application. It's based on patented, I stress, RF technology. And let's go forward. These are the 5 points. Please look at these. This is really the issue. We're innovators in the IoT and broadband area. I mentioned our pedigrees in this area, and we are focused on 5G broadband and Internet of Things applications because they are large market shares. The key differentiation for us is the RF link performance between these devices and whatever else they may be connected to. If you think of in the medical world, for many of you on this call, think of devices under the skin that can actually penetrate outward into hospital or research wireless networks. Think of 5G access as T-Mobile or Verizon advertises to get your internet wirelessly out, etc. The breakthrough offerings are twofold, already in place, therefore risk elimination, which is a 5G router and a tracker for industrial and military applications. It's based on MulCat technology, story for a different time, but again, 18 patents filed, now 5 of them patented to be specific. The revenue will grow to from $800,000 this year to about depending upon how far you go in time, $39 million in 4 years' time. The reason that we are so bullish on this and already have a lead investor in a Series A to which we're extending is because we have already developed the important sales channels and sales partnerships. We're already partners with T-Mobile and Verizon and certified on their networks. These are huge relationships that we've been able to close early in a company like ours because of the strength of the team and the strength of our products. Let's go to the next one, please. And now I'm going to go to pointers. So we're going to go very rapidly here. Look at the upper right-hand side, please, and look at fixed wireless connections. That's remote connections that don't use fiber and cable. 350 million connections for this in the next several years. Nearly $3 billion in 5G connections. So the point is, and I don't think this would surprise any of you, this is a considerable market. In fact, our problem is which of these to choose in what order, and we have made that call with the products that I'm about to show you. Next one, please. Only to say that our competitors don't have the technology or the IP protection to spend time on antenna design. Therefore, their products don't work. Therefore, if you're in Africa, for example, or in India, where we have an office, and you're trying to build out a wireless network, you can't do it with fiber and cable. It isn't there. And so the ability to go farther with additional strength to reach farther is extremely important. The competitive issue here is that it costs no more to create our designs than anyone else's. So we don't have a cost of goods disadvantage, and therefore we don't have a price or margin disadvantage. Let's go on. We're going to skip this. Oh, let me not skip that. Look on the far right-hand side, please. Look at 2 times the efficiency, 3 times the bandwidth, that is with all the carrier or wireless frequencies that the carriers use, and most important of all, 2 times the distance between the tower and the device in question. Next one, please. So we're the superior performance guys, recognized by T-Mobile to be so, recognized by Verizon to be so. And so we are the guys that have staked our claim in this area, not only with our product expertise, but world-class antenna expertise, and Mulcat is the engine that lies underneath all of these products. Next, please. We have three
We're at 5
categories.
minutes.
Got it. We have 3 categories of products already in play. They are developed. They are in the market, or will be so in the case of the tracker, in 3 weeks. So multiple products developed for a little under 5 million. Next, please. Awards everywhere, including CES. These is not pay-for-play awards. These are real ones. The industry has recognized this. This is a proof point, as well as the next slide, please, which is, we're going to skip that one and go forward. Look at the, as you look at this later, look at the accolades at the bottom from actual users from our product. This is the Sky 5G router. Look how clear it is. Look at the fact that they don't have to use video. It's real and it's here. Let's go on. Forward, please. We have a clear product evolution and we have clear customers. Look at them later. Look at the partners. And by the way, you can get it online. I'll say it in passing. Let's talk about the revenue ramp, and let's talk about the deal. The revenue ramp, as you see here, it's entirely spoken for 2026. It's about 35% already spoken for in 2027. And that's because we have these powerful channel partners that you all know that have cut deals with us, actual deals with us, in order to go forward. Let's go forward. I've already covered the management team. And so forward again, please. And here is the offering. I want to make it clear that we have already raised a Series A. So due diligence in place, Series A documents in place, but we're extending it by another up to $5 million. Of that $5 million, our lead investor is going to invest at least $1.5 million. And the terms will be those terms that we used for Series A. And there's a distribution of usage here. Without going into detail, most of that is to continue to penetrate channel partners, including with AT&T yet to come, and also those in other countries where these performance advantages are critical to the health and well-being of their populations. And that's it.
Great. Who has their first question? Joe first, then Roy.
Have any of your partners taken you into the oil patch where remote communications are
Great question.
a necessity? Middle East, North Africa, and Africa, parts of Latin America, etc.
No, thank you for the question. Not yet, not because we don't want to. In fact, I would welcome investment, strategic investment from that part of the world as well.
Okay.
Great. Roy, what's your question?
Yeah. So who is the lead investor and who are the other investors in your Series A so far? Or other
Series
notable
A
investors?
is Silico Capital, north of Detroit. They took the entire 7.3. Of that 7.3, we spent about 5.8 or 9. So everything you see, all those products, all that progress is with a spend of under $6 million.
Any other questions? All right. With that, we'll go and wrap up. Thanks, Chris, for a great presentation. At this point, I'd like to ask the investors who they would like to follow up with. If you have your microphone off and camera off, just put that in the chat box. If your camera's on, just like to go around the room and ask, who did you find interesting? Brill, what did you find interesting today?
Enjoyed them all. I think I'd love to hear more from the first company.
Nolius?
Yeah, Nolius.
All right, we'll do that. And then Ernest, who would you like to follow up with?
Yeah, I would vote for Swarma. She looks tough. I'd survive if I was in a foxhole with her.
Okay. All right, Dan. Great. We'll put you on that as well. Ernest, and you?
Yeah, sorry. I need to look over what I've seen again today. This is my first meeting, so bear with me. I think I got their details on the chat, so I'll try to reach out to them directly.
Great. Thank you. Randy, how about you?
I also think Swarma would be somebody who I'd like to find out more about, and also Keegan. I think that's an interesting product. So
sounds good. With that, let's go around the room and talk about Morris. How about you?
Dan, very interested. Dan, very excited about what you're doing. Love to talk to you. And the gentleman that was just presenting with the antennas, I'm actually in the oil patch, and we've been discussing some things that I think we'd like to introduce you to some friends of mine.
All right, that sounds
Thank
great.
you so much.
Yes, sir.
Caroline, how about you?
I'll follow up with Swarna. We do a lot of life science at Van. I'm in contact with Keegan from Chill Shark already, and then I'll follow up with Chris too. We like telecom, so would love to continue the conversation.
That'd be great. Thanks. Joseph, how about you?
Like Chill Shark, I think they had a really good market opportunity in different areas, so I'd like to learn a little bit more about them.
That's great. We'll make that introduction as well. Let's go to the next slide. And we have with us Jasper. How about you? What did you find interesting?
Nolius.
Nolius. Okay. So we'll put you down for that. And then next is Kobe. How about you?
Yes, in most cases, I'm already in contact with most of the companies, so I'm really excited. The only company that I find here interesting from my side, that I'm coming from the communication fields, is Chris, that I would like very much to talk with you about connecting to Hutchison Group and AI in DACH region. I'll be very glad to talk with you and give you much more information.
Very good. Thank you. Seabright, who would you find interesting? Your microphone's muted.
Hello?
Yes, we can barely hear you. Go ahead, say again. Who did you find
I think I
interesting?
keep my computer open for too long. I need to restart my computer somehow. But anyways, so Keegan already get in touch with me, so I'll be in touch with Keegan a little bit later. And at the same time, I'd like to hear a little bit more information from Chris.
Chris, okay, great. We'll make those introductions. Appreciate that. One more slide, and then we may have everybody here. I think that's everybody that has their camera on. If your camera's off, please go ahead and put it in the chat box. We'll pick that up from there and go forward. I know we're a little bit over time, but I want to thank you guys for hanging around for this. It's been a great presentation and great questions. Appreciate all the work you guys do on the investor side as well. With that, let's go ahead and wrap up for the day, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks all.
Thank you
Thanks,
for your
Thank you
interest,
very much.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, Hall.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank
Be
you.
well.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
See you, Chris.
Sure. Uday is Qualish. See.